kind of information about our country and our history. And it's important that we start teaching our children and our people to remember this, what happened to our people. We cannot, just because we won, we can't forget. You know, we've got to remember what we went through, the hardships we went through, so the next generation will know that they too must fight the battle. They too must not just sit on their morals or wait till a settlement comes and just say, no, give it to me. Give it to me. That's not the way we're people. We're entrepreneurs, we're hard workers.
Prophet of the New World, I do the work of the Most High. I assert it with no pride. I live in humility. Is there anyone to side with me? Yes. Sincerity will gather up its recruits, and we will soon taste its fruits. Louis David Rial.
Since the time of Louis Riel's Metis provisional government in the Red River settlement, the Metis people have pursued his mission of self-government within the Canadian Federation. The defeat of the Metis at Batoche drove the Metis movement underground to resurface during the Depression with new Metis associations on the prairies. During the Trudeau era, Harry Daniels emerged as the champion of Metis nationalism.
What we are talking about is the equality of people here. And to use your phrase, we're talking about a just society. It can't be just for some Aboriginal people and not for others.
His efforts began to bear fruit when he succeeded in having Metis recognized as one of the 3 Aboriginal peoples of Canada in the Constitution. At the same time, the Manitoba Metis Federation under John Morrisseau launched a land claims lawsuit against the federal government over its failure to provide land for the Metis under the terms of the Manitoba Act. But Daniel's monumental achievement was soon called into question when the Metis were denied representation at the first Constitutional Conference on Aboriginal Rights. 2 leaders of the Saskatchewan Metis emerged to lead a new national movement, the Metis National Council, founded on March 8, 1983. The MNC took Trudeau to court to secure seats for the Metis at the constitutional table. Trudeau backed off, and the Metis were seated.
I'm not here to justify why we're in the Constitution. That seems what everyone tries to ask us, to justify why we're there. We are there, we're an Aboriginal people. Now we will sit down and deal with the rights of Aboriginal people.
The 4 constitutional conferences in the 1980s failed to make a breakthrough on self-government, but the Metis had a voice. Self-government was back on the table when Prime Minister Mulroney recognized the Metis Nation and brought the MNC, its governing members, and the provinces into the Metis Nation Accord. But this important breakthrough did not see the light of day when the Charlottetown Accord, of which it was a part of, was defeated in a national referendum in 1992. Despite these setbacks, the MNC and its governing members continue to act as governments, negotiating and providing a variety of important programs and services to Métis people. And they took their struggle for justice to the courts with the decade-long Powley case in Northern Ontario, which ended in the Supreme Court of Canada recognizing Métis harvesting rights.
To all the Métis people out there watching, I want to say 2 words. We won! We won!
The Kelowna Accord, negotiated with Prime Minister Paul Martin, represented another potential breakthrough on self-government, but died with the defeat of the Martin government. The election of Stephen Harper's Conservatives to power meant a new direction in Canada-Métis Nation relations with the signing of the Métis Nation Protocol in 2008.
We built on that relationship, a growing level of trust between our 2 governments, if you will. The personal relationship, which I think is very, very healthy, and a degree of honesty on the issues.
And I know with your leadership, your commitment, that we do have a great potential in moving forward and achieving the things that we've wanted to achieve.
The protocol provided for long overdue recognition of the contributions of Métis War veterans, A group of these heroes, accompanied by the MNC and Minister Chuck Strahl, returned to the beaches of Normandy, France, site of the D-Day liberation of Europe, and opened a permanent exhibition of the Métis people.
We're honoring all Canadian veterans today, but also paying special tribute to the Métis veterans who had signed up by the thousands during the Great War and the Second War, and many of whom are buried here in France. So this is a great occasion, and it'll be a long overdue memorial that we unveil today, the Red River Cart, and we look forward to doing that later on, and that's going to be a great tribute to the veterans who gave their lives.
It's a small, but I believe significant step for justice, so much deserved by our Métis veterans.
But I was here along with Clement when we came here to see the ceremony of Juno Beach, and truly we knew and we saw with our own eyes there was a piece of unwritten story, unwritten chapter yet to be done for Juno Beach, and that was the Métis people.
There was a lot of nervousness on our part too, because we wanted to make sure it was done so well. It was quite energetic. It was a lot of synergy amongst all of us. But at the end of the day, it was just a great sense of pride. You could just feel it.
Oh, that was really exciting. I was enthralled with what was done by the Métis Nation Council. It was an impression that it'll take a long time to forget any of it.
Economic development was another top protocol priority, with Ottawa and the MNC negotiating a number of strategic federal investments in Métis financial institutions. This included the new Métis Entrepreneurship Fund that makes larger loans to Métis businesses and is jointly owned by the three Métis capital corporations on the prairies.
This is another concrete measure our government is taking to strengthen the economic development of Aboriginal peoples. This investment's building on our government federal framework for Aboriginal economic development.
Ministers from the 5 westernmost provinces joined the federal minister and the Métis Nation in a series of forums on Métis economic development directed toward a national strategy by the end of 2013. The MNC and its governing members also spearheaded talks with industry on how to collaborate effectively on economic projects. Engagement sessions were held in Prince Albert, Grand Prairie, Winnipeg, and Vancouver, with another planned for Ontario. In the continuing drive for self-government, the MNC pursued consultations and conferences throughout the Métis homeland toward the development of a Métis Nation constitution.
Stand right, go!
And the decades-long court case of the Manitoba Métis Federation, started by John Morrisseau and relentlessly pursued by his successor David Chartrand, finally reached the Supreme Court of Canada in December 2011.
One thing for sure, a big moment for us. It's one that when I started, didn't think I would see the end of it. I'm 72 now, and it's been 30 years since this has happened. And it's a great day for us as Métis people, and I hope that the judges see it as a great day for us as well.
We brought forward all the information and all the documentation that truly proves that the Métis were robbed of their future. And I'm hoping the Supreme Court of Canada will look at it in that context and reflect upon the actual factual statements made by Parliament and by the Prime Minister of the day and all of the cabinet ministers that there was a treaty with the Métis people, and then clearly a constitutional and fiduciary obligation did not find itself on the best side of the Métis.
Manitoba Métis Federation Incorporated et al. Versus Attorney General of Canada et al.
The ruling of the court would not come for 15 months, setting the stage for a climatic milestone in the history of Canada.
Riel's been vindicated, and this country, as his history was put on trial, and justice has prevailed. Yes. I want to say once very clearly, this will forever be known as the new beginning. Our time has come. The Métis people have found their place in Confederation. The Métis people know their place in Confederation, and this country will, in fact, be our partner. So I'm very, very proud of that. It is a victory. It's our time, people. It's our time.
After 143 years of waiting for the justice promised by the Manitoba Act, David Chartrand and fellow Métis Nation leaders made their triumphant return to Winnipeg.
John, it's 32 years, I can't remember it.
Hi, Clem.
Thanks already. That no school in this country has. No college, no elementary school has this kind of information about our country and our history. And it's important that we start teaching our children and our people to remember this, what happened to our people. We cannot, just because we won, we can't forget. You know, we've got to remember what we went through, the hardships we went through, so the next generation will know that they too must fight the battle. They too must not just sit on their morals or wait till a settlement comes and just say, "Now give it to me."
Well, I must tell you personally, I'm very, very proud to be here today to bring home such a victorious decision by the Supreme Court of Canada.
Our time is now. It is going to change the next generation, starting immediately. Let's stand together as a nation, strong and proud. Thank you very much. Guys, let's celebrate!
The Supreme Court decision in MMF versus Canada was rendered on March 8, 2013. The the 30th anniversary of the founding of the Métis National Council, a new beginning.